Cyber attacks are on the rise, with hackers constantly seeking vulnerabilities to exploit, whether it's personal information, financial data, or critical infrastructure. No one is immune to the threats of the digital age. That's where cybersecurity comes in. Grace IT Solutions can help you develop a career in cybersecurity and in six figures without necessarily having any technical background. Join us as we journey through this path together on our YouTube channel, Grace IT Solutions. For more information, contact +1571 365 1251.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Eric Obin from Greatself IT Solutions. If today is your first time on this channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell to be notified anytime we go live or we post any new video. We are back again on our journey on how to pass the CGRC exams. And again, just to let you know, in June of 2024, that is this year, the exams domain will change, which tells us that the exams questions would also be modified. Therefore, if you want to write the exams, I will highly encourage you do so now and now. And that is why Greatself IT Solutions is here to help you or prep you to write the exams and pass well. Now, for some time now, we've been looking at the steps, the tricks, the know-how to prepare you to pass the exams. And we've said that in order to pass the CGRC exams, the 7 steps is a must know, and you cannot joke with it at all. So in our previous videos, we've looked at the preparation step, the categorization step, the select step, the implement step, the access step, the authorization step, and we are now on that step. So we are on the authorization step. However, don't forget the last step is going to be the continuous monitoring. But for the sake of our journey on getting ourselves prepared for the exams, we are on the authorization step. And so far, we've tackled up to, let's say, the 3, because we have 5 tasks under the authorization step. And we've looked at the authorization package, the risk analysis and determination, the risk response, and now we want to talk about the authorization decision. But as always, we want to look at the purpose of the authorization step. Now, the purpose of the authorization step is to provide authorizational accountability by requiring a senior management official to determine if the security and privacy risks, including supply chain risks to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, or the nation, based on the operation of a system or the use of common controls, is acceptable. Again, if you look at this purpose, what stands out is accountability by requiring a senior management official. So in this case, the stakeholder in charge of this is the authorizing official. He has the sole responsibility to accept risks or deny risks. In his absence, nobody does that. That is why the emphasis made in this slide is accountability by requiring a senior management official to determine, the determination here comes in, if the security and privacy risks to the organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, or the nation, based on the operation of a system, or the use of common controls is acceptable. So this is a must know. Now, again, as usual, the publication is going to be NIST SP 837 revision 2, and the SDLC is implementation slash assessment. This is very important. In order to pass the exams, you have to know all the SDLC associated with each of the steps. It's a must know. It's a must know. It's a must know. So please take note of this, and it's very, very important. Now, let's look at now the authorizing official. And as I said again, the authorizing official here is going to be, sorry, the stakeholder responsible for this is going to be the authorizing official. Authorizing official, he has the sole responsibility of accepting rates. So the question we want to ask ourselves is, what then is authorization decision? What is authorization decision? What is authorization decision? Okay. Authorization decision is the sole decision made by the authorizing official to accept regs or deny regs of the information system. Again, sole decision made, underline. As I said, he has the final say. He makes the final decision upon reviewing the authorizing package sent to him. He decides to make the decision either to accept regs or deny regs. So the key word here is the sole responsibility. He makes the final decision on that. Now, let's look at the authorization decisions that we need to take note of so far as the exams is concerned. So the authorization decisions here are: one, authorization to operate, authorization to use, common control authorization, and denial of authorization. Let me repeat it again. Authorization to operate, authorization to use, common control authorization, and denial of authorization. So what does all this mean? So let's look at the first one: authorization to operate. And as the name goes, authorization to operate, meaning you've been given the license, you've been given the permission to operate for the system to go into operation. So let's look at what that gives us. If the authorizing official, after reviewing the authorizing package, determines that the risks to organizational operations, organizational assets, individuals, or other organization and the nation is acceptable, an authorization to operate is issued for the information system. The keyword here is after the review. If the AO feels that he can accept risks, then we have to allow the system to operate. That's what that means. Now, the system is authorized to operate for a specified period in accordance with the terms and conditions established by the authorizing official. An authorization termination date is established by the authorization official as a condition of the authorization, which implies that when the authorizing official takes the decision to allow the information system to operate, he also gives terms and conditions, which we shall look at, in the course of this video. There are terms and conditions attached to it, and there is also a termination date. So bear in mind, we are looking at the differences between the four types of the authorization decision. So the first one we are looking at is the authorization to operate. So the key word here is that the AO accepts regs. It gives them the termination date. Most of the time it's going to be 3 years. Then also there are terms and conditions attached to it, which must be abide. Okay. Now let's continue and look at it. The authorization termination date can be adjusted at any time by the authorizing official to reflect an increased level of concern regarding the security and privacy posture of the system. For example, the authorizing official may choose to authorize the system to operate only for a short period of time if it is necessary to test the system in the operational environment before all controls are fully in place. It is doable. If after the review, they realize that no, there are certain things that needs to be critically looked at, they can take a decision. Remember, he has the sole responsibility to make a decision on even the number of years to be given to the system to operate based on one or two conditions or one or two risks or the severity of whatever the risk is attached to that system. He has the decision to make. Now, the authorizing official may choose to include operating restrictions such as limiting logical and physical access to the minimum number of users, restricting system use time periods, employing enhanced or increased audit logins, scanning, and monitoring, or restricting the system functionality to include only the functions that require live testing. The authorizing official considers results from the assessment of controls that are full or partially implemented, since if the system is ready to be tested in a live environment, many of the controls may already be in place. Now, this is what authorization to operate means. Simply put, he looks at it, review it, accept it. If he finds that everything is okay with the system, and the risk is not that of a big deal, he allows the system to operate, and there are conditions attached to it, and there's also termination date. Now, the second one is similar to the first one, but the banner here is common control authorization. So we follow the same steps, but this authorization is attached to the common control that have been inherited into the system. So basically, they follow the same format, they follow the same explanation, but the key word here is it has to do with a common control. Okay, so you just follow the same format as I said from the beginning. Now, it says that common controls that are implemented in a system do not require a separate common control authorization because the controls receive an authorization to operate as part of the system authorization to operate. Okay, if the controls are under ongoing authorization, a time-driven authorization frequency is specified. This is very key, which we shall look at in our subsequent videos. But just to touch on that, okay, ongoing authorization is a type of authorization. We shall look at that. Now, let's look at another aspect, and this is very important: authorization to use. The first one we looked at was authorization to operate. We look at common control authorization, and this one is authorization to use. So, for the sake of the exams, you want to know the differences between authorization to operate and authorization to use. The difference here is that with the authorization to use, it involves a third party. That is the difference. It involves a third party. So let's look at the difference here. An authorization to use is employed when an organization, hereafter referred to as the customer organization, chooses to accept the information in an existing authorization package produced by another organization, either federal or non-federal, for an information system that is authorized to operate by a federal entity referred to as the provider organization. So it is more of the federal system. It is more of the cloud-based. Example of this is the Amazon, where you get your services from a third party. That's basically what that means. So now let's look at it. It says that authorization to use is issued by an authorizing official from the customer organization instead of an authorization to operate. The official issuing an authorization to use has the same level of responsibility and authority for risk management as an authorizing official issuing authorization to operate for a common control authorization. So in this case, again, there is a third party involved. Everything is taken at that level. You just receive the service, then you use it. So every decision which is being taken is based on what the rate is. You decide to take it. Okay, I like it. I take it. I move on with it. More especially with our internet that we use at home. Most of us get our internet from Comcast, from Verizon. They go through whatever they need to do, whatever they need to go through. You just go in for the service and you use them. So always it involves a third party. That is the most outstanding differences between the authorization to operate and authorization to use. Okay. A customer organization can issue an authorization to use only after a valid authorization to operate has been issued by another federal entity. That is the provider organization. The authorization to use by the customer organization is a statement of the acceptance of risks. That's right. In using the system, service, or application with respect to the customer's information. An authorization to use provides opportunities for significant cost savings and avoids a potential costly and time-consuming authorization process by the customer organization. The authorization to use does not require a termination date. Please and please take note of this part. The authorization to use does not require a termination date, but remains in effect if the customer organization continues to accept the security and privacy risks of using the shared or cloud system application or service, and the authorization to operate issued by the provider organization meets the requirement established by the federal organization policies. That's right. There's no termination date. So far as everything is okay at the other end, breaks is okay. I mean, that's it. You go ahead and just use it. Because in this case, there's a third party involved. So whatever this decision is, if you decide to go with it, yeah, then you handle the situation as such. So there's no termination date, unlike the authorization to operate. So the authorization to operate has a termination date. It has certain requirements that needs to be abide. However, with the authorization to use, there is no termination date. So far as everything is okay by the other party, you go ahead and use it. It is incumbent on the customer organization to ensure that information from the monitoring activities conducted by the provider organization is shared on an ongoing basis, and that the provider organization notifies the customer organization when there are significant changes to the system, application, or service that may affect the security and privacy posture of the provider. If desired, the authorization to use decision may specify time or event-driven triggers for review of the security and privacy posture of the provider, organization system, service, or application being used by the customer organization. What that means is that there has to be a constant update, especially when something happens. Yeah, because you are at the other end, you have to be notified to know what is going on. That's what that slide simply means. Then the last one is denial of authorization. And as the name is simply spelled out, denial means the authorizing official denies the system or deny the risks concerning that system. So if the authorizing official, after reviewing the authorizing package, including any input provided by the senior accountable official for risk management or risk executive function, determines that the risk to organizational operations, organizational assets, individuals, other organization, and the nation is unacceptable. Unacceptable is a key word here. And immediate steps cannot be taken to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. The authorization is not granted. It is not granted. So unacceptable, not granted. That is the difference here. If the system is currently in operation or activity is halted, failure to receive an authorization means that there are significant deficiencies in the control. In other words, the system is of a high risk. Hackers can easily get into the system. I mean, the CIA, objectives can easily be compromised. Therefore, the authorizing official would not accept the system to operate. The authorizing official or designated rep works with the system owner, common control provider, to revise the plan of actions and milestones to help ensure that measures are taken to correct the deficiencies. Wow. Authorizing officials can rescind a previous authorizing decision when there is a violation of federal or organizational policies, directives, regulations, standards, or guidance, or a violation of the terms and conditions of the authorization. For example, failure to maintain an effective continuous monitoring program may be grounds for rescinding an authorization decision. Yes. Remember, we said from the beginning uh, that when the system is allowed to operate, or when risk is accepted for the system to operate, it doesn't mean you just have to put other things on hold. No, there are conditions that are given which needs to be abide. Failure, more especially when you don't monitor the controls at the continuous monitoring step, when there's any violation in the federal, organizational policies, directives, the system can be halted. Every decision that has been made by the authorizing official can be cancelled because you are not abiding by rules and regulations. So let's look at the authorization decision information. Now, the authorization decision is transmitted from the authorizing official to the system owner, common control providers, and other key organizational officials. The authorization decision includes the following. Yes, please pay attention. This is a must know. You have to know this and understand it very well to pass the exams. So one, authorization, decision that is given. Terms and conditions for authorization, time-driven authorization frequency, authorization termination date. How many years? Maybe 3 years, maybe 2.5 years, depending on what the authorizing official sees so far as the system is concerned. They give it a specific time. Then there are also conditions. Then it says that events that may trigger a review of the authorization decision, if any. And for common controls, the FIPS 199 impact level supported by those controls. So these are the information that comes with the decision that is being made by the AO. Review it, the decision is made, terms and conditions, time, given to the system, depending on the risks, attached to the system. 3 years maximum, maybe 2 years, maybe 6 months. It depends on the AO. He has the final say. He or she has the final say. And also, list event that may trigger it. There are so many of this, which we shall look at in our subsequent video. So please stay connected. Make sure you subscribe, and don't just subscribe, but click on the notification bell so that anytime we drop any new video, you'll be notified to also watch it as well. So I hope this video helps. Again, the exams will change in June. Get yourself prepared, put things together, and go and write the exams. I'm your tutor, Eric Obin from GracServe IT Solutions. Bye for now.
Cyber attacks are on the rise, with hackers constantly seeking vulnerabilities to exploit, whether it's personal information, financial data, or critical infrastructure. No one is immune to the threats of the digital age. That's where cybersecurity comes in. GracServe IT Solutions can help you develop a career in cybersecurity, earning 6 figures without necessarily having any technical background. Join us as we journey through this path together on our YouTube channel, GracServe IT Solutions. For more information, contact +1571 365 1251.